All right, guys, we are back. We're 25 episodes in, 6 months later, and I'm here to show you what that actually looks like. And you might be surprised with the results. Our views are still flat. But that is the harsh reality of doing YouTube. And most people, they're probably not going to show you what it actually looks like because a lot of people wait until the results actually start to trickle in. But I'm here to put our channel in a somewhat vulnerable state and show you what it really looks like. Most of you guys watching probably YouTubers. We may get some established people in the house, and if we do, I'd love to learn from you because I'm new at this. But without further ado, let's jump into the metrics, shall we, Pikachu? All right, let's do it. There are generally three metrics that I like to look at. Number one is audience retention rate. Tells you who's hanging about, right? Critical. Number two is the click-through rate. If people ain't clicking on your thumbnails, then your videos are not getting watched. And then the third one, which I care somewhat less about, if I'm quite honest with you, is the number of subscribers to the actual channel. Yeah, it's important for us that we're measuring success based on what the analytics actually looks like, and always chasing the bottom line is not the ideal outcome, especially for a new channel. Okay, so for somebody who's never dipped into their YouTube studio or analytics, and I would probably say there's a decent chunk. I'm here to kind of show you what that looks like and navigate through the back end of it. I or our agency, since launching our channel, we made a conscious decision to wait until this milestone of 25 episodes before we actually pop the hood open. Why? Because when you start to look at your metrics too early, and I would argue even 25 episodes is arguably early. However, if you look at those analytics prematurely, you're not basing it off of representative results. So my advice is just crank out content and keep doing it, and then worry about the analytics once you've got enough of a Rolodex to go off of. All right, so let's now pop the hood open and go into the YouTube analytics. So this is what your dashboard looks like the moment that you log into your YouTube studio. All right. What we're going to do here is I do kind of periodically look at this stuff. I go to the analytics tab and then I go to content. And then here I scroll down, and then this is where you see the top videos. And then I click this little button right here, see more. Boom, it's going to pop open all of the episodes. All right. So I'm going to navigate a few things here. Firstly, we want to see our results from lifetime. So make sure you swap out the duration and do it to lifetime. All right. So looks like we've been going since December 2024. Not bad. I mentioned audience retention being a primary metric. Audience retention tells you who's actually hanging about to watch the video. The thing with YouTube is, though, they're not actually going to give you that number until you have enough episodes. And believe it or not, 25 episodes is not enough for audience retention to actually show up on your channel. So if you hear audience retention all the time and you're not finding it, don't freak out. You just don't have enough data yet. All right. But that's cool. We do have other things to go by. So number one is looking at the click-through rate. Impressions are cool because it tells you overall how many eyeballs you got on the channel, but really what we want to look at is the impressions click-through rate, which what will that tell you? That will tell you if your thumbnails are working. If you have a low click-through rate, it tells you that the thumbnail hasn't caught the viewer's intrigue enough for them to actually click that button. Or it could be the thumbnail copy. There's a lot of variants, but it's all related to the thumbnail. All right, so once you are on this screen right here, you're going to see your impressions click-through rate. In totality, it is 0.7%, right? Not great, but also we're only 25 episodes in. Might I also add, we're only posting once a week. Generally, you want to be posting more than once a week, but we're all about consistency. And what is easy for us to do consistently is weekly, because we're also operating a creative agency. And this is kind of something that we're just doing kind of on the side to develop a little bit of a community around the work that we do, and hopefully deliver value along the way. So now let's dig in. So what I'm looking for here are essentially the top winners. All right, so this one right here off the bat stands out at 24.7%. Okay, and then we've got this one at 13.3%, and then we've got this one at 9.5%, and then it kind of just drops there proportionately. So what we are noticing here is that the more dynamic thumbnails seem to be performing better than our more branded thumbnails, because we instituted more of a so about I don't know 3-4 months ago roughly we started to introduce more branded themes of thumbnails, and it kind of seems like the branded theme is not working so well. When we started we didn't have the theme, so we were kind of just feeding into like what YouTube typically likes and what I generally see on my feed, and then we kind of reverted to a more of a systematic approach. But it kind of seems like the systematic approach isn't yielding as many results. Now, here's the thing though, right? Because if we look at the impressions, we will see that this one right here resulted in 1,258 impressions. So what does that tell us? That tells us that the nature of the content, aka fitness app mistakes, was something that caught people's intrigue, as evidenced by the fact that we got 1,200 impressions. Next, we got this one. Grow your yoga studio, right? 1,074 impressions, meaning that that is content that YouTube likes to see. Unfortunately, people aren't really digging the thumbnail, and I can see why, because it was actually the front screen of a PowerPoint deck. I think our designer was out at the time, so we had to get creative, or not creative, should I say. So we just stuck this on. But it tells us that this content resonates, but maybe we should do more of these types of thumbnails that are a little bit more dynamic in nature, because they're yielding the higher click-through rate. Okay, so that is number one, right? Well, number one is really audience retention, but we don't have that metric. So number two is the click-through rate. And then we got the next metric, right? The next metric that I'm looking for is the average view duration. All right, because that is going to indicate to me how long people are hanging about and what are they watching. Are they even getting through the first 3 seconds? Is my hook strong enough, or is it weak? You know, it's only when we look at how long people are hanging around is when we're going to really be able to make an indication. You know, our channel is new, so we're probably not getting a lot of exposure. YouTube isn't pushing our content, so that's why we're sitting at around 1.5 minutes. Now, it's important that we're testing different things. So our video started between 45 minutes to an hour and a half. We did super long content. And then we trimmed it down to about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. And then we trimmed it down to about 12, 15-ish minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, let's say. And now we're trimming it down even further to 3 to 5 minutes. So that way we can kind of see, right, what is the sweet spot? And that is our goal when we're getting cracking. Don't just do the same thing, because doing the same thing may not be working. Yeah, and also doing the same thing might be working perhaps. But what if you did something else that could work even better? All right, so this is kind of why we test and iterate. So in this instance, we can see again that most people are hanging about for 1.5 minutes. Now let's look at some of the big players that where people are actually watching throughout. So content conversion. That's one that people really like based on the fact that it's 1 minute and 42. Here's another one. What's killing your e-commerce sales? Lovely thumbnail there. So, you know, these are two that immediately stand out. Oh, this one, 2 minutes. All right. Fitness e-commerce brands. All right. What is it? There's a little trend that we just developed there, guys. E-commerce and e-commerce. Clearly, e-commerce is something that people are favoring. Now let's continue. All right, we got fitness apps. As I mentioned, fitness apps is also driving interest because people are watching 2.5-ish minutes of it. Video ads don't drive conversions. I would say that paid ads generally is content that people really like. I think maybe one of the reasons why people are actually tuning into this one is because we're using a bold heading or bold title, which is video ads don't drive conversions. Right? People are wondering, well, no, they do. What does this person have to say about the matter? Having a bold stance of opinion or a bold stake in the ground with the opinion that you hold is going to be great to capture people's interest. Okay, so That is overall. Oh, man, I almost forgot about this one. 7 minutes here and 5.5 minutes here. Nobody knows our luxury real estate brand locally. This tells me that luxury real estate brand is popping, right? Which is also great. And then we've got here again, uncommon proven marketing strategies. Stop ignoring long form video marketing. And then we just notice another trend: video marketing and video marketing, sorry. So we've got video marketing here, video ads don't drive conversion, and then we've got the other one further down there, which I'm not going to go searching for, but you kind of get the point in terms of how we're looking at things and making correlations. And again, it's all based on assumptions, but that's why we kind of do more. So now maybe we create a wave of e-commerce content, see if that kind of flies. Sprinkle in some video ads content, see if that helps boost things. We recently just started to institute shorts. That was something that we weren't really doing. We were just trying to get the rhythm right. Now we're at a place where we've got a good flow. So now we're starting to crank out real YouTube shorts. And we like to use Opus Clips. Just helps. You take your long form video, you dump it into Opus Clips, kind of pieces the videos based on virality, gives you the whole subtitles and all of that jazz. And then you just pop it straight into YouTube. I do not get, or we do not get any endorsements with Opus Clips at all. I would love to, but we don't. So use it at your discretion, but we use it and we kind of like it. All right, so that is overall the back end of your YouTube analytics. If we go back to our main dashboard, so we got 30 subscribers. Not bad. You know what I mean? Not great. But again, that's the harsh reality of YouTube. We're not doing it for subscribers. Would we like to increase subscribers? Yes, absolutely we would. But we're actually really trying to figure out again what that sweet spot is. The real milestone is not the views, man. It's really not the views. We hear virality and we're kind of spoiled because we see our social media feeds are like flooded with quote viral content. But the fact of the matter is that there's more to content than just views. It's about showing the F up 6 to 10 months later. That's what it's really about, is being consistent with it, because YouTube likes to see that. And I would say once we hit 80 to 100 episodes, that's likely when we're going to start to see the machine really move. So if you're building a brand, the gem is this: consistency compounds. All right. So when you're figuring it out, if you're already doing YouTube or if you're planning to do YouTube, make sure that you can be consistent. If you can't do once a week, then maybe once every 2 weeks. Can't do once every 2 weeks, once every month. And then you kind of get the rhythm and then you can go ahead and advance on it. So stay in the game long enough and I guarantee your numbers will eventually show up for you as well. Don't chase the result. Peace. Pikachu, I'll say bye. Bye.